So you are thinking of running for council, or you are interested in better understanding the municipal election process. In order to assist you, the clerks throughout the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville have developed this information session to provide you with information on the municipal election process. The province of Ontario held a provincial election on June 2nd this year. Some constituents may get confused during our municipal election process because the voters' lists are currently separate. The province has their own system and requirements for producing a voters' list and holding an election. Municipal voters' lists are derived from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. There are a growing number of information items that we felt were important to the public, including the important dates that are legislated through the Municipal Elections Act, what the qualifications are for a person to run for either council or as a school board trustee, the voters lists, and when the public will have an opportunity to ensure they are listed, and when and how to make any required changes. The types of voting methods being used throughout the United Counties, which leads to information regarding telephone and internet voting. A new area of regulation added to the Act that will regulate third-party advertising. Once elected, how the council-staff relationship affects the municipality. And finally, the candidate and third-party advertisers' financial reporting requirements, including the updates to the Act made in 2018. Nomination period is the same as the 2018 municipal election, but the nomination day has changed. Between May 1st and August 18th, clerks will receive nomination papers during regular office hours. As a candidate, you should confirm what the regular office hours are for your own municipality. On August 19th, nomination papers will not be received by the clerk after 2 p.m. If there is a lineup of potential candidates in the office at 2 p.m., they will be permitted to file their papers after 2 p.m. The candidate filing a nomination paper will be required to pay $100 for council and $200 for head of council. Nomination papers now require the signatures of 25 qualified electors. The clerk will not be responsible for ensuring that the 25 people are qualified. The qualified electors themselves are confirming that they are electors in the municipality with their signature. Candidates will receive a voters list no later than September 1st. The clerk will work with the candidates to determine the format. During the 2018 election, some municipalities provided the list electronically, sorted in the manner requested by candidates. Some candidates like the list sorted by street so that they could easily see who was next on the list as they went door to door. The candidate will be required to sign a statement stating that they will not use the voters list for any other purpose than the election, and that the list will be destroyed following the election. When a candidate files their nomination paper, they will receive a preliminary expense limit certification along with a candidate's package. This preliminary expense limit is based on the total number of electors from the 2018 election plus a base amount. The term of office for council has also changed from 2018 to 2022. Council will now begin their term of office on November 15th from the previous December 1st. For 2022, November 15th falls on a Tuesday, and it is anticipated that most municipalities in Leeds and Grenville will host their inaugural meeting that evening. Following Election Day, most municipalities will hold an orientation session for their new council. In Leeds and Grenville, the United Counties hosts a Saturday session which covers many of the topics that are of interest to all municipal councils, such as your fiduciary responsibilities, conflict of interest, etc. The next two dates are applicable to a regular run-of-the-mill election without any applications to the court for extensions. December 31st marks the end of the campaign period, which began on the date the nomination paper was filed certified somewhere between May 1st and August 19th. By March 29th, 2023, at 2 p.m., candidates must file their financial statements with the clerk. There is a 30-day grace period but the candidate will be required to pay a $500 fine in order to file late. In order for a person to be a qualified elector, the following criteria must be met. They must be an owner or tenant of land or their spouse. So lands must be owned in a person's name, not a corporation's name. For example, it may be a sole proprietorship owned by Joe Black, but the land is owned by Joe Black Incorporated. Joe Black is not eligible. A person must also be a Canadian citizen, at least 18 years of age on voting day, and must not otherwise be prohibited. If an employee of a municipality wishes to run for council in the same municipality, they must take an unpaid leave of absence. An employee of a school board must take an unpaid leave of absence to be a candidate for any school board. To complicate this further, an employee of a municipality can run for a school board, and an employee of a school board can run for council without a leave of absence. Firefighters are not considered to be employees of a local municipality if they are volunteer. With regard to the third bullet point, municipalities can contract with an individual for the services of a clerk or treasurer. For example, some very small municipalities contract with a lawyer as the clerk. A municipality could contract with an accountant for the treasury duties. In cases such as this, the individual is not permitted to run for council unless they take an unpaid leave of absence. All candidates are required to file nomination Form 1 and Form 2. Form 1 includes a declaration that the person submitting the nomination is qualified to run for office, so please review what the required qualifications are as discussed earlier. Municipalities with more than 4,000 electors are also required to include the signature of 25 qualified electors as their nominators. The filing fees must be paid by cash, certified check, or an electronic method as determined by the clerk. Check with your municipal clerk to determine if they are accepting debit and/or credit cards. The candidate will be required to sign a document stating that they will use the voters list for its intended purpose, which is for the election only. It cannot be used for commercial or personal purposes and must be destroyed following the election. When the candidate is completing this form, you will be asked how you would like to receive the voters list. There are two options, either paper or electronically. Many of our candidates prefer the electronic copy as it can be provided alphabetically by voter or by street, which is handy when they are campaigning. On that form, you will also be given the opportunity to receive a list of all who have already voted at advanced voting opportunities. The filing fee for the 2022 election is $200 for the head of council position and $100 for a councillor or school board trustee. Expenses and contribution information is contained within the candidates package you will be able to pick up at your municipal office. These amounts are based on the 2018 voter registration numbers. Provincial regulation has set out the method of calculations you see before you. Following the return of the voters list, the clerk will recalculate the amount based on the newest information and provide the final certified maximum campaign expenses. Voterlookup.ca was introduced in 2018 by MPAC to assist in the preparation of the voters list. It's an easy to use online voter verification registration process. 80% of Canadian households have computers, and the onus is on the electors to ensure that they are on the list. One list is used for both municipal and school boards, and the online service is available in both English and French. And one of the greatest challenges faced by municipalities each election is the voters list. Promotion of this service will help in making sure that electors are on the list and make things easier at voting time. The following slides will be a review of the information to be provided on voterlookup.ca. When the site first loads, there is a short video reminding people about their right to vote, reviewing the qualifications for electors, and explaining the steps to follow. The next page of voter lookup allows you to search if you are on the preliminary list of electors. Individuals using voterlookup.ca are required to put in their municipality name, their first and last name and birth date, as well as the property address or roll number. Commencing the Tuesday after Labor Day, Tuesday, September 6th, people can attend the municipal office to change the voters list. This is only necessary if they have not already updated voterlookup.ca. When attending the office, they must provide original identification as per the list of acceptable documents for voter identification, which shows the person's name and qualifying address. Examples of acceptable documentation include a driver's license, photo health card, a canceled personalized check, insurance policy or statement, property tax assessment, and a utility bill. There are 29 acceptable identification documents. Only one item of acceptable identification is required. In some instances, the returning officer may have additional requirements for identifications, and this could be different in each municipality. The next 3 slides identify each municipality within the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville and which method of voting their municipalities will be using for the 2022 election. There are 11 municipalities in Leeds and Grenville counties and 6 from Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry participating in telephone and internet voting provided by IntelliVote systems. The councils of all the municipalities have agreed to this single source. As noted before, though we are all using telephone and internet voting, some municipalities are providing a limited opportunity for paper ballots. Please contact your municipality to confirm this and watch your local paper for more information. The municipal clerk's procedures on electronic voting can be found on municipal websites and may differ from municipality to municipality depending on their method of election. Anyone interested in an online demonstration of electronic voting, the ISI website can be found at demo.intellivote.com. This site will take you through the process for both internet and telephone voting. For those people who are not familiar with electronic voting methods, some of the reasons to move towards an electronic voting process include the ability to vote from anywhere in the world. This ensures that all residents and non-residents, resident qualified electors who have access to the internet or telephone can vote. In the 2018 election, participating municipalities had eligible voters who voted from Australia, France, Peru, Nepal, India, Chile, United Kingdom, and the Netherlands. Voters also participated from across Canada and a large number of the United States. The system does not tell us who the voter was, but the IP addresses identified where the voter was located. Because of the advancements in technology and the presence of computers in over 80% of the homes across Canada, voting by telephone or internet makes access easier for everyone, including people with disabilities. While not a deciding factor for all municipalities, electronic voting provides faster and more accurate results and can reduce costs. It has become increasingly difficult to find people to work the long hours on voting day. Often voting day staffing requirements can be handled by the existing staff resources. The electronic voting has also changed the candidate strategies for campaigning, where advance polls were or are held 2 to 3 weeks in advance on voting day. Candidates not have more time to reach out to the electors. Although it has yet to be confirmed, the advanced voting period will commence approximately 1 week before voting day and run through voting day, but please check with your local municipality. The website noted is provided for you to try out if you have not yet voted in this manner. Eligible electors will receive a voter information letter by mail a few weeks prior to the voting period, providing instructions on the process. Additionally, the electronic voting system provides candidates the ability to track and monitor voter turnout. More information will be available from your local municipal clerks closer to election time.
As noted before, the Municipal Elections Act was amended for the 2018 municipal election to include new rules for third-party advertising. Prior to the 2018 municipal election, third-party advertising in Ontario for the municipal elections took place without any regulation or limits to access to accept contributions of spending money. A registered third-party advertiser is an individual, corporation, or trade union that has filed with a complete notice of registration on the prescribed form with the clerk of the local municipality. A third-party advertisement is an advertisement in any broadcast, print, electronic, or other medium that promotes, supports, or opposes a candidate in the election, or is a yes or no answer to a question on the ballot. A candidate is not a third party when they do their own advertising. If no expense is incurred, such as posting on Facebook, it is not a third-party advertisement. There are 3 organizations or individuals that who can advertise for a candidate without having to register, which include a corporation that can give or transmit an advertisement to its shareholders, directors, members, or employees, a trade union that can give or transmit an advertisement to its members, or an individual that can give or transmit an advertisement to their employee. Responsibilities of third-party advertisers include registering with the municipal clerk. Third-party advertisers must register in each municipality they will be advertising in. They are separate from any candidate's campaign and must be done independently from a candidate. Third-party candidates are also required to register prior to any advertising. They must keep all financial records until November 15th, 2026, which include receipts for every contribution, the value, money, goods, or services, the contributor's name and address, receipts for all expenses. All advertisements must contain the legal name of the registered third party, the municipality where the third party is registered, a telephone number, and a mailing address or email address. Broadcast or published radio or newspaper must provide the legal name of the registered third party, name, business address, and telephone number of the individual who will deal directly under the registered third party and the municipality where the third party is registered. It is up to each party to be aware of municipal sign bylaws, as each municipality may have separate regulations. Please check with your local municipality for more information. Some important points to remember as a third-party advertiser. Who can contribute? Any person can contribute who is a resident of Ontario. Corporations carrying on business in Ontario, or trade unions that hold bargaining rights for employees in Ontario. Those who cannot contribute include clubs, associations, or ratepayers groups, a federal political party, constituency association, or a registered candidate in a federal election, a provincial political party, constituency association, or a registered candidate or leadership contestant, or a federal or provincial government a municipality, or school board. There are limits to third-party advertising. $1,200 limit per person or organization. This includes the value of goods and services donated. A maximum of $5,000 per contributor per municipal campaign. No cash greater than $25. Advertisers must inform every contributor of the limits. They must issue receipts for contributions and cannot refund unused contributions unless these are self-funded. The spending limits are calculated and provided by the clerk. They must be expenses that are incurred during the campaign period and include parties and expressions of appreciation after voting specific spending limits. The following slide are key dates for third-party advertising. May 2nd, clerks can begin to accept registrations. September 25th, clerks are to issue certificate of maximum campaign spending limits. October 19th is the last day to register as a third-party advertiser. December 31st is the end of the campaign period. And March 29th, 2023 is the final date to submit financial reports.
The relationship between council and staff is an important element in the success of the municipality. Therefore, we will be providing you with information on the roles and responsibility of both parties, as well as what expectations must be met to foster this relationship. As potential candidates, this will assist you in understanding what you can expect once elected. Once elected, the first thing that you will be asked to do is execute your oath of office. For the 2022 election, the term of office begins on November 15th. So most municipalities will hold their inaugural meeting on or shortly following this date. This meeting consists of the swearing-in ceremony with an opportunity for newly elected members to briefly speak of their aspirations if it has not been done so before. Usually the regular business of council does not happen at this meeting, but is held for the first regular meeting date. Regular meetings of council are generally cast in stone depending on your municipality. For example, Front of Young has 2 regular meetings of council per month, the first and third Mondays of each month, except for January, July, and August, where there is only one each month. You can confirm your municipality's calendar with the clerk. Attendance requirements at committee meetings is in addition to council meetings. Some municipalities make use of the committee of the whole system, where council sits as a committee, which is less formal. Generally, the head of council is not the chair. These meetings can be held on the off weeks where there is no council meeting, or held immediately before a council meeting, depending on the municipality. Other municipalities rely on volunteer committees where a member of council is appointed as council's representative. Again, it all depends on the municipality you are running. All of this leads us to read, read, read. As a member of council, you will need to keep up with your reading, whether it is in the agenda package, which can be very lengthy, information from the province, applicable municipal magazines, or correspondence from various sources. Reading will become your new pastime. In addition to all of that, expect to receive calls from residents and property owners at any time, day or night, wanting answers, discussing issues while you were grocery shopping, and people dropping by your residence when they see you out in the yard or if they see your vehicle in the driveway. You are their direct contact with municipal government, and many feel more comfortable speaking with you than calling the office. Why is a good working relationship important? By working together, the ratepayers and residents believe that the municipality is well looked after. It will foster trust between the municipalities and those they serve. Please take note, we are speaking of a working relationship between council and staff. Neither party need to strive to become close friends, but both parties need to understand their roles and how they can work together in an atmosphere of respect. When there is a good relationship between the two parties, recruiting personnel will be easier, which will be important for all municipalities in the near future, as a large portion of municipal employees become eligible for retirement. Municipalities are a creature of the provincial government. We do not have constitutional standing like the federal and provincial governments. The province of Ontario has enacted the Municipal Act 2001, which is the lead legislation for municipalities, along with countless others. Council is considered a deliberative assembly with the opinions of members expressed by vote. The majority of votes are required for the adoption of a proposition. In simpler terms, each member of council, including the head of council, have one vote each. When the members of council decide on a policy, procedure, or action, the majority of members must vote in support of it to be adopted. No one member of council has the ability to bind the municipality on their own. So the legislative roles of council are to represent the public and consider the well-being and interest of the municipality, to develop and evaluate policies and programs, to determine which services to provide, to ensure that practices and procedures are in place to implement decisions of council, to maintain the financial integrity of the municipality, and any other duties under the Municipal Act or any other act. Council does this through the enactment of policies and procedures. The head of council has assigned responsibilities under the Municipal Act as well, but has no greater power than any other member of council. The CEO in municipalities is not like the CEO in private business. As Chief Executive Officer, he or she chairs council meetings, finds consensus among council members, liaisons with senior staff, provides advice to council, is the ex officio member on various boards and committees, which means he or she automatically holds a seat on the various boards and committees and can opt to attend any meeting he or she wishes. They are also the key representative for the municipality at social and ceremonial functions and is the liaison for the municipality with other levels of government. And like council, the head of council must carry out duties set out in the Municipal Act and any other act. There are numerous documents that you, as a potential candidate, should be aware of. These include the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, which sets out rules regarding pecuniary interest of members of council. The act can be found at the link provided on the slide. Staff are not your resource for this act. If, once elected, you have any question about a potential pecuniary interest, go see a lawyer. Staff cannot provide you with the advice on this legislation, nor can the municipal lawyer. All municipalities in Ontario are mandated to have a procedural bylaw. This bylaw will give you information on meeting procedures. Since the majority of your time as a member of council will be spent at meetings, understanding of this bylaw is important. Your municipal clerk would be happy to provide you with a copy, or you can see if it is on the municipality's website. Each municipality has to pass an accountability and transparency policy. This is one policy that emphasizes why municipalities cannot function like private business all the time. We must invite public input, be open and welcoming to this input. This makes decision-making in the municipal world a slower process than in the business world, and at times more complicated. Code of conduct for council and committees and committee members as well as staff is also a required policy. Another bylaw that you may wish to familiarize yourself with is the procurement bylaw, which governs the way we purchase supplies and equipment. This bylaw sets out why municipalities purchase the way we do in order to provide an open and transparent process. As well, all municipalities are required to have a council staff relations policy. In the Municipal Administration Program from AMCTO, Dr. Tindal broke down council's duties into 3 areas: representative, policymaking, and managerial. Council members are chosen by the elector to represent them at the council table. Though it is hoped that those elected will be representative of the population, this may not always be the case. There are many factors that can contribute to the certain demographics of the population not being represented on council. Potential candidates may not run for council due to a variety of reasons, some of which are financial limitations, new residents, young families, and shift workers. Policy making encompasses a very broad area. Some of the first things new council members will be asked to participate in is long-term planning, specifically through strategic planning, which begins with the establishment of a vision for the municipality. The strategic plan sets the path for the municipality and provides staff with a set of objectives to be attained. The budget is one of the first challenges a new member must address, but having a strategic plan in place will assist in completing this policy. While trying to address these important topics, as soon as you take your seat, there will be numerous other policy decisions you will be part of, ranging from animal control to human resource policies. Staff will be there to assist council, providing documentation and information that will be helpful in completing policy processes. By enacting policies and procedures, council sets the direction of the municipality. It is staff's responsibility to ensure that these decisions are put into action. Hence the analogy, council steers the boat and staff rows. Council, as a body, are responsible for the overall management of the municipality, ensuring that the taxpayer is getting the most of their tax dollar. This managerial role is at a high level. For example, council is responsible for ensuring that the municipality is provided the required resources, human and money, in order to complete the policy directions of council. Council interacts with the CAO to ensure that action is being taken. The CAO and department heads are responsible for managing staff to achieve the stated goals. In order to encourage a successful working relationship, candidates and members of council must also understand the role of staff. The 4 roles as set out by Dr. Tindal are service, management supervisory, public relations, and public advisory. Staff also have rules that they must adhere to. Some members of staff will have legislative duties, such as the clerk, treasurer, and chief billing official. Legislative duties are mandatory and not subject to council's direction. Council should be respectful of the obligations placed on staff by these pieces of legislation. The service role is very straightforward and very visible to all. Staff provides the services council has determined the ratepayers and residents want. We maintain roadways, provide fire prevention and protection, animal services, recreation services, excuse me, economic development, planning services, library services, wastewater services, etc. The list goes on depending on the municipality you live in and what the people want. Many municipal staff have a management role, including but not limited to the CAO and the department heads. It is their responsibility to ensure that their staff are working toward the implementation of council policy in an efficient and effective manner. We do this by using tools such as performance reviews, managing work schedules, and development and monitoring budgets. For most ratepayers, residents and visitors to the municipality, staff are the first point of contact, either by phone, email, regular mail, or at the office. On a daily basis, staff act as ambassadors for the municipality. We receive requests for services, complaints, and sometimes kudos for a job well done. Staff are council's major source of information. As frontline staff, we hear many of the comments and suggestions from the public, providing this information onto council where needed. We keep up on legislative changes and provide information to council on how the legislation will affect the municipality. Staff also provides council with background information and recommendations for decision-making. For the most part, municipal council is made up of individuals who work full-time. They need to rely on staff to do the research and analysis needed for policy decisions. As professionals in our field, we strive to provide council with the best information possible, allowing council to make a decision on an informed, timely manner. Policy, whether at a municipality or in a business setting, proceeds through 5 steps. Initiation of a policy comes from a variety of sources: public, staff, upper levels of government, and council. As the elected representatives, council should take a more proactive approach. During the research and recommendation stage, excuse me, open communication between staff and council is necessary. Council needs to set the boundaries of research, and when there are questions, staff must feel comfortable going to council for clarification. Staff recognizes that the recommendations provided to council may not be what council will support. The recommendations are a starting point. Council can accept one or all of the recommendations. They can modify the recommendations to suit a political need, or they can reject all and any recommendation. Staff and council are wired differently. We are both there to serve the public, but council is political, seeking re-election in most cases, whereas staff hold the middle ground and are neutral politically. Adoption is the realm of council. Staff will be expected to support whatever council decides. It is also important for members of council to remember that they are there to support the decisions of council as a body. Yes, disagreement during the decision process is inevitable, considering there are very different personalities sitting around the council table. But once the majority has made the final decision, all members of council are obligated to uphold the decision of council. Implementation of an adopted policy or procedure is the staff's domain. Staff will report to council if any issues arise. What will make implementation difficult is council members rowing instead of steering. When a council member interferes with implementation, staff are placed in a difficult position. They have a job to do, and the application of policies must be done in a fair and equitable manner. When asked to bend the rules for one person, the integrity of the decision of council is questioned. The periodic review of all policy decisions needs to be conducted to ensure effectiveness and efficiency. Both council and staff have expectations of each other. It is important to know this now when you are considering running for council. Council members should expect well-planned agendas so that meetings are productive. The majority of council members in Leeds and Grenville are part-time, and members appreciate efficient meetings. You should expect staff reports that are brief and to the point. There should be adequate information and analysis contained within the reports to ensure council is making an informed decision. Staff are to provide you with options that council can use to assist in decision-making. Council expects staff to complete any and all follow-up actions required. This could include implementation of policy decisions, correspondence, etc. As stated before, council is a political beast. They expect staff to recognize and accept that they will make some political decisions that may not make sense to staff, but work in the political realm. Excuse me. Council expects staff to be loyal and support them. Staff should do their best to make council and individual members look good, where it is in their powers to do so, of course. Council will expect staff to follow the set organization structure, ensuring that the proper reporting process is followed. Council does not need a rogue member of staff undermining the administrative structure. As with council, staff also have expectations of council. Staff need the elected body to be familiar with the organization and its operations. Hopefully, during the orientation for new members, much of this information will be provided. There is nothing worse for a member of staff than to see a member of council open his or her agenda package for the first time as they are taking their place at the meeting table. Staff have put a lot of work developing the package for you so that you will be knowledgeable about the meeting issues. Do your homework before the meetings. As mentioned before, some staff have statutory responsibilities. Staff expects that council will recognize this. On top of the statutory demands, there are other demands on our time other than preparing agendas and meeting material. We have reporting requirements to the provincial government, public service, managing staff and information, and other items that are all part of our job. When staff say we need time, understand that this is a necessary request. When asking for a report, think about how many other reports on the same subject have been requested in the past. Staff need to be consistent in the application of policies adopted by council to ensure fairness and equity for all. Staff expects the same from council. one-offs can result in more issues arising. Staff expects council to provide direction, such as setting a policy, but permits staff to determine how best to implement the policy. Staff are familiar with the normal processes of the municipality and will be able to ensure successful implementation if given the direction to do so. The discretion to do so. Council is expected to respect staff as professionals, providing advice to council. You do not have to agree with the opinion presented by staff, but should not attack or put down staff in public. Many of your municipal staff are recognized by their respective association and have professional obligations connected to the association. Council should support staff in this as it reflects well on the municipality as a whole. Similar to the council expectation, staff expects council to respect the organizational structure. Nothing undermines a department head's authority more than having a member of council going to an employee for information and/or advice normally provided by the department head or the other way around. Being open to an employee's complaints or requests that should have first gone to the department head or CAO.
The following last few slides are frequently asked questions that clerks in Leeds and Grenville have received in the past elections, as well as the upcoming 2022 election. Who is ineligible to run for council? The Municipal Act specifies who can and cannot run for municipal council. The following individuals are ineligible: any person who is not eligible to vote in the municipality, an employee of a municipality who has not taken an unpaid leave of absence or resigned, a judge of any court, an MP, an MPP, or a senator, an inmate serving a sentence in a penal or correctional institution. When can I put out election signs? Each municipality may have their own sign bylaw that would speak to where election signs can or cannot be located and timelines for when they can be displayed and must be removed. Please speak directly with your local municipality to confirm these requirements. What happens to the surplus amount in campaign expenses if a candidate indicates at election campaign surplus at the end of the campaign period? Sections 88.4, subsection 1, 88.31, and 88.32 of the Municipal Elections Act speaks to a campaign surplus. If a candidate's financial statement indicates an election campaign surplus at the end of the campaign period, the entire surplus amount shall be paid to the clerk at the time of filing, and the clerk shall hold this money in trust. If a candidate has a surplus and they or their spouse has made a contribution to the campaign, the candidate may, after the campaign period ends, but before filing the financial statement, refund themselves or their spouse as long as the amount does not exceed the lesser of the contributions made or the surplus. Following any refunds, the clerk will hold the monies in trust until after the compliance audit period has ended, approximately July 2023. Once the audit period has been completed, the surplus amount will become the property of the municipality. As a candidate, do I have to open a separate bank account? Section 88.22, subsection 1A of the Municipal Election Act provides that a candidate shall ensure that no contributions of money are accepted or expenses incurred unless one or more campaign accounts are first opened at a financial institution exclusively for the purpose of the election campaign. Can I accept a discount on campaign items? How do I properly disclose contributions made if they have been discounted? Pursuant to section 88.15, subsection 3 of the Municipal Elections Act, if goods and services used in the person's election campaign or in relation to third-party advertisements are purchased for less than their market value, the difference between the market value and the amount paid is considered a campaign contribution. The candidates must, In addition to disclosing the expense incurred by paying for these services, list it as a campaign contribution and the difference between the market value and the price paid. For example, if a candidate pays $100 for a service that the contributor typically would charge $150 for, the candidate must list the value as $50 as a campaign contribution. How can I pay for goods and services? Can I pay with credit? Goods and services can be paid by any method, but you are required to keep all receipts. What activity is appropriate on municipal property during the election? As a candidate, you are able to book municipal facilities, such as renting a building or the use of a park. However, these must be paid for by yourself and included when disclosing campaign expenses. Current members of council that have submitted nominations paperwork for the upcoming election must be aware of municipal corporate resources policies, which outline municipal resources that cannot be used. Check with your municipal office for more information regarding corporate resource policies. When do debates or public meetings get scheduled? Municipalities are not responsible for holding debates or public meetings. These events are arranged by separate organizations, such as local Rotary clubs, the Chamber of Commerce, or other organizations, who would contact each candidate directly. Can I reuse my election signs from the previous election? Election signs can be reused for each election. However, they must be accounted for when filing your financial statements. They are considered inventory of campaign goods and material and must be recorded as a contribution from the candidate and as an expense. A candidate would need to take the current value of what these signs are now worth.